All right. What a cluster that was. Lynn, you there? Oh, you are frozen. All right. We're supposed to be live. We've had some severe technical difficulties, but try to get Lynn back in here. This was supposed to be a community update. We're supposed to go live in our community.biznexus.com. And we're assuming that everybody is out barbecuing anyway, so we don't really. You there, Lynn?
Yeah. Hi, how are you?
Okay. Pretty much everything that could go wrong has gone wrong with this, but I'm not that worried because it's Memorial Day and everyone's gonna be barbecuing. If you're not barbecuing, what the hell are you doing watching us on a live stream? But we will, we'll get the views on the recap, so we can put a little note in here, basically explaining that we totally botched this because it's our first community recap. But welcome, Lynn. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely, pleasure to be here.
Yeah, so you and I have been chatting a bit back and forth this week, but really today, just trying to frame what this is supposed to be, right? Like what we want to do for the community recap. And the goal is that every week we'll just chat about the events that took place last week, what's coming up this week, maybe some interesting conversations that have taken place in the community, and just give people some idea of where the hell to go. And we've got a lot of questions about how to navigate the community, how to take advantage of certain things. I think people are still really just trying to figure this thing out, but they're in there, they have the questions. So hopefully we can help guide them along the way. So you and I just chatted this morning about maybe the roadmap for today, kind of touching on the events that just took place over the last week, and then what's coming up, and then maybe some trending discussions. Since you're so on top of that, maybe you just run with that. I can pop into the community events and just do a little screen share. We can just start talking. What do you think?
Yeah, sounds good. Let's do it.
Okay. All right. Let's do it. So I'm going to do my screen share. We will lock this down. All right. Can you see the community here?
Yeah, absolutely. Here we go.
Perfect. Yeah. So, all right. Let's aim for about 20 minutes. So it's 2:20 now. It's hilarious because I think we originally intended to go live around 1 o'clock, but now it's 2:20. Here we are. So let's just aim for 20 minutes, and we'll just run through the community. So if you've been active in the community, you can see that we have a welcome checklist now. So we're trying to guide you and get you to at least be aware of the key activities in the community that make sense. So when you come in, checking out the premium solution, making sure you've set up your profile. We have a lot of people who are in there and they have this, right? That's not going to match you up with any of your target colleagues, target prospects, people who are looking for your specific area, your specific niche, your specific deal size. So we want everyone to get in there and complete their profiles and engage as much as they can with the key activities in the workshop. So just interrupt me at will, Lynn.
Yeah, absolutely. I could add to that with in the community, because it's such a good networking and exposure opportunity. It's one way of thinking about it is just the same as LinkedIn, right? It's a professional community, and if you see a profile on LinkedIn and they don't have a photo, that looks kind of suspicious and not very credible. And it's actually exactly the same in the community here. Both with credibility, but also with the type of relationships that you can build and conversations. It just helps a lot when you have a picture.
Yeah, and we'll have more guidance along the way, but the community is so powerful. Like the marketplace, obviously, we built that all on matching. The algorithms do what they do, but when you're in the community, you can just you can just throw in the keywords, and you get a lot of really interesting stuff. So if you're focused on healthcare, you can see you put in healthcare, and you're getting events. You're getting MedWorld. They're very active. You got Estelle. Here, you can look at events. You can look at content. You can whittle this down by members, so you can just search for keywords that would make sense for whatever it is you're looking for, right? And so when you're here, these people, I'd click through, and if you actually click through to somebody's profile, let's look at Estelle here. Ideally, yeah, see, so Estelle has her LinkedIn. We can click out to her LinkedIn right here. And I'm not signed in. You can click out to her website. And she's got all the keywords that would matter. Maybe she could use a few more. But basically, you just want to set up a profile that can get found by your target prospects. We're not charging for this. It's just we're trying to really help make the match, just like we do with BizNexus. So, without going down the profile rabbit hole, check out each one of these key activities when you can in the welcome checklist, because they're there for a reason, right? To help engage, but really to maximize the tools that we have in the community, and a ton of those are free. The majority of them are, which is a nice segue into free events. So you can see here an upcoming live BizNexus community recap. That's what you're watching right now. And then we've got two of those for some reason in here. Maybe that's just because that's been how our day has been going. So let's take a look at the past events. What do we have this week? So this past week we had some events. The majority of our events are all going to be around the sell side, right? So exit planning. We're trying to help the entrepreneur learn more about what it takes to actually get a good transaction, right? To start moving your business sooner than later towards an exit. Network with the intermediaries, with the CPAs, with the lawyers, with the financial advisors, with anybody who would be on your deal team that would be a good fit for you, either in your geographic location or in your niche or in your deal size. I mean, that's really what we do over at the BizNexus marketplace. That's what we're trying to do here in the community. So a lot of these events are all going to be geared around that, right? They're going to be sell side events. The only real exception is what I do weekly, which I've been doing weekly since the onset of the pandemic, which is our deal origination lunch and learn. So we've just opened that up a little more. We're going to be doing that in the community, and that's all focused on deal origination. So we're focused on tactics, tips and tactics. Oh, there you are. We lost you, Lynn.
Oh yeah, just to continue with the tech issues here.
Yeah, it's Memorial Day, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's watching. We're good.
Yeah, so what were you talking about events?
Yeah, I'm just running through. So the general gist of the community is that we're geared towards the sell side. So we're looking to educate entrepreneurs about the exit process and help match them with the individuals who can help along the way, along that journey. And so the majority of these events are going to be sell side, right? They're going to be exit planning events, with the exception of the live lunch and learn, which I do every week, which I've done since the beginning of the pandemic. If you get into some of the groups, so behind the paywall, if you paid $9.97 a year, which is where it is now, but we have a bundle that opens up all of these workshops and masterclasses and groups on deal origination. So if you get behind that paywall, if you're in that bundle, then you'll see a lot more events focused on deal origination, right? But in the main community, that's all exit planning, sell side. And so this past week we had the business succession and exit planning. That is a curated event, and so that is just a typical event in the community. Some of them will link out to the community, like outside of the community. Some of them will actually live inside our community as a live event. This deal origination one, that is a live event. This past week, we went through leveraging referral prospects for deal origination. So you're not only going after your primary target if you're looking to acquire a business, or if you're an intermediary and you're looking to get in front of a particular type of seller, right? That might be someone in your geographic area. Like Lynn and I are both in Boston, so that might be somebody just in the Massachusetts area. If you're a business broker, if you're looking to do, a geography-based search, if you're looking to buy your way into a job, but you don't want to drive more than half an hour, which in Boston means you're driving like a block. But that's typically the type of criteria that we'll see buyers or intermediaries focusing on. So if you're doing that, you shouldn't only focus on that end target. You should be focusing on referral prospects, especially if you're looking at doing this for any significant amount of time. So if you're a private equity group and you're going to be out there for the next 7 to 10 years looking for a specific type of company, you should start day one looking at the referral prospects who are working with that end target and incentivize them to kick you those leads on an ongoing basis. If you're a business broker or an intermediary, we've seen, certainly with the old timers, everything's changing quickly, obviously. but certainly with the some of the most successful intermediaries in the industry, they don't do much outside of referrals. they're not doing, they're not listening to a deal origination podcast or webinar. They're just leveraging a few key referral relationships, and that winds up counting for significantly more than any proprietary deal sourcing strategy you can put in place. So it's something that we're basically, if you're a member of BizNexus Concierge, we're kind of selling ourselves out of working for you, because if you get that snowball, if you really accelerate your referral flywheel, that's good. And the people who we see being most successful do that. So that's a long-winded description of what we went through on the Lunch and Learn this past week. And then we always have templates, and we throw in the templates, we throw in the action items, the playbook we actually had. So we have masterclasses in the community on referral prospecting, what the targeting should be, right? So if you're going after a financial advisor, you don't want someone who's got $100 million book, because they're not really incentivized to build that. They're just sitting back on their annual fees. But you want to ideally, aim for someone earlier in their career who's out there hustling. They're looking to develop referral relationships, someone who's working in a boutique, not Morgan Stanley or UBS, because they have complicated rules around referral relationships, and they've got their own network of referral relationships for their advisors. So if you're looking at boutique, you're looking at early. That's one example of targeting. We go through Sales Navigator. We show you exactly what targeting that is. That's the kind of stuff you get behind the paywall. Not intending this to be a pitch. So Lynn, just tell me to shut up if I'm getting too salesy. I don't want to. Then these other events, SBA loans, taxes, what's relevant with valuations. That's the type of stuff we have week in, week out. So now upcoming events this week. This one, ACG Toronto. Lynn, you and I are actually going to ACG Deal Fest. That's next week, right? Oh, Lynn just keeps freezing here. So we have all these events coming up. We've got Quality of Earnings. That one's going to be right here in the community. We've got the Deal Origination Lunch and Learn Wednesday. We've got BizNexus event on due diligence, and then you have all of these other events, tips to a successful sale, and et cetera, et cetera. So if you're here, whether you want to watch the event in real time, or if you want to go try to track it down after the fact and watch the recording, that may or may not be available, right? So if you have, if we have a live event here in the community, we'll leave those up for the most part in the community for a time. But then if it's something like deal origination, we'll leave that up for a few days. Then we're going to drop that back behind the paywall just to try to, make sure this thing is cash flow positive, at least in the early days with the community. So we're really trying to get a level of engagement behind that paywall that makes it well worth, the annual fee. And I think we're definitely there in terms of content. So hop on in, and we'll be talking more about that as we go. Lynn, you have been kind of going in and out, but looks like your head's moving. Are you there now?
I am. Yes. I'm sorry, I don't know what's happening with my internet connection here.
No problem.
But to add on to that, one easy way to distinguish between what's BizNexus or internal events, you'll always have the BizNexus logo. And if it's not there, you'll know that that's not a BizNexus event. That's a curated event that's outside of like our community. And
nice.
Yeah, like it'll be.
We should highlight that difference in the Learning Center as well, if you want to cover that.
Yeah, absolutely. So with our Learning Center, we have quite a few different bundles, but one of the bundles is the one that you talked about with deal origination. And another one is exit prep, where we talk about everything that goes into preparing your business for a sale. And that could be, both in the long term and in the short term, with how should you think about accounting and how should you prepare your finances? When you get a deal team together, what you need to keep in mind to make sure that you have a really good deal team that will get you to the finish line and across it, to due diligence and legal aspects, anything really. And we bring industry professionals on board. So the format is the same there. The lessons are, or lessons, podcasts, they're about 15 to 20 minutes. And then we have experts that come in and talk to us about Q&E, for example, or quality of earnings, which we have one coming up this week on Wednesday. That's going to be very interesting. Yeah.
Hosted by Lynn.
Yes, so I'm hosting that, and I've got Evan Ottaviano coming on board from Bennett Thrasher, where we'll go in and talk about what is quality of earnings and how do you need to think about that from a business owner perspective, and how do you need to prepare for it, thinking about buyers, right? Because all of their questions, if you think about them in advance and you prepare for those questions, then the conversation will be much better. And another thing that we talk about is business debt-like items versus working capital in terms of valuation. And Bennett Thrasher and Evan, they specialize in this and do this day in and day out. They were also at M&A Source in Denver a couple of weeks ago and did a great presentation on that. So we'll get a snapshot, a quick overview from that.
Nice. Yeah, with these workshops, if you're having trouble navigating the workshops, just ping us. You can ping Lynn, you can ping me, right? You can just go and just click on Lynn's profile and shoot a message, right? Say hello and do a little DM.
Yeah, please
you know, hey, having some, it's really easy, guys. Need some guidance. Right. So you can just shoot a message to anybody, but with the exit prep sessions, everything that Lynn is going through, it's free. So don't be afraid to click on the button. Confirm free access, due today, free. And once you click on that, you're getting access, and then you'll get to go to these sessions that Lynn is talking about, right? So if you have financial due diligence, you've got just a little section on what it is, what you should be doing. And then we have just interviews, right? So financial due diligence, we've got, we had Roman, Balin, and we had, Mike German from Hollywell Partners. And they just went back and forth with me, just covering everything that you'd need to think about in terms of financial diligence leading up to a sale as a first-time seller, right? So exit prep is really geared towards that first-time seller. So if you're running your business and you or your CFO or your management team want to start the discussion about, what it takes to start getting ready to sell and to start meeting the people who can help you along the way, we're just making the match. We're showing you this, and you can pop in and you can see from the experts section, you can see people who have answered these questions and connect with them, start chatting with them. There's no catch. We're just making the match there. So that's the sell side.
It's just going back to what you're saying there. So if you scroll down and you get to experts, where you have conversations that we've had in the community, if you come in and you're interested in preparing your business for a sale, it's such a good opportunity because you have professionals that work with that specifically, that come in and answer questions. And a lot of our discussions in the community are very engaged. So if you come into a discussion in a topic that you're interested in, and you start engaging with the people who are already talking about that topic, it's such a good opportunity to get expert advice and kind of get to know people in the industry and which ones are really good and a good fit for you going forward.
Yeah, and some of it is kind of hacky, right? And admittedly, we're taking the summer to really just refine. I mean, the content is good. You just might see, you might see a little bit here and there where clearly it's like we're in the early days. But this is a perfect example. You've got a question like, for owners heading into LOI, how long should they expect the period of exclusivity with potential buyer to be? our copywriter hasn't put that nice snazzy intro in there, but the info is valuable, so we put it live. And so if you go through here and you actually click, want to go deeper, then you come to the question, and you can see all of these are intermediaries, right? So they've answered the question, some of them more thoughtfully than others, right? So Michael Limbers, look at this. He's taken the time to really put in a thoughtful answer to this and talk about why they do 45 to 60 days on their LOI. You know, Dave Shepard, MedWorld Advisor, same thing. Mike, really great leader in the industry. He's talking about his experience with LOIs, the typical time frame, and why that matters. So you get like really interesting answers that, you know, if you're a first-time seller and you're wondering how long you should be giving this period of exclusivity to a potential buyer, boom, it's all here. And then if you want to have further conversation, you just click through, right? Check out anybody. And if I want to click through with Dave, there he is. And then if I want to check him out a little more, I can pop into his LinkedIn. I'm not signed in, but he should have that set to public. MedWorld, you can go straight to their website. You can read more about them. You can see, you know, what they've been doing in the community. So it is a great resource to network strategically in your moment of interest, right? So if you're thinking about the LOI, you go in, you check out the workshop, you're reading through it, you click through, you see some answers, you like what some people have to say, pop in there and check them out, stalk them, right? Get on LinkedIn, connect with them, get off platform. We're not trying to control the transaction on the platform, just trying to make the match. So yeah, I think it's something special, and we've got really good engagement. We just need to do more guidance like this to help people figure out where the hell they are in the community. So that also brings up, so I think we wanted to highlight some discussions that that we liked. So let me just pop in home. I'm going to search here, and I'm going to search everything. I'm going to go back to questions and polls. Do last activity, popular now. So now I'm looking at questions and polls that have popped up, and I'm just randomly searching now, right? So I'm not going through a structured topic in a workshop where I'm just being directed into how long you should expect your LOI. I'm just checking it out, seeing what's happening in the community. Favorite tool strategy for keeping buyer communications in one place. Best strategies current available for minimizing taxes heading into the transaction, right? Had some good answers. Click on previous comments. You'll see everything. Bob Ferris, he had a really interesting answer. I mean, we might just have him on for a conversation. Lynn, just
yeah. I think if you're interested and thinking about taxes, there are some really insightful answers here. Where, for example, Bob Ferris, who is very specialized and very good in this area, says in order to depreciate taxes, or in order to minimize taxes when you're actually exiting, you can, for example, create a separate legal entity like an S corporation where you depreciate your assets within that entity instead of within the one where you operate. And also, if you go and look here and you see, okay, so Mike, he replied. So there's a lot of engagement also between members here, and the discussion is super interesting.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And that's the kind of niche thing that might put people to sleep if we were to take, like, you know, just a general webinar, a general update, and just talk about a niche topic like that. To highlight it here is interesting, but we're going to have, like, in the section on, like, Bob is the tax whisperer, right? Like, he's that's his niche. We love niche in the community. So he has a lot of expertise in, you know, tax issues leading up to an acquisition or sale. And we've actually made him a member of our advisor panel in the community because he has that niche. So we try to develop relationships with people who have clear expertise in their niche, and Bob is one as the tax whisperer. So what we'll do is we'll have a conversation with Bob, and we'll put that in exit prep. And so when you're going through the workshops on tax considerations when selling your business, you're going to come across that interview, And so if you're motivated to watch, a 30-minute session on tax strategies, like that's your opportunity when you're in that exit prep workshop. Otherwise, we'll just highlight conversations that happen that are interesting in the community as we go during these weekly updates.
Yeah.
This one is great. I love this. Just people introducing themselves as they come in. They're usually dropping a little note about what they focus on, and
Yeah. I think that's a good suggestion also for people that haven't done that in the community yet. Just saying hi and kind of what you're interested in, if you have a niche that you work within, and just engaging with the community that way.
Yep, and that's we'll put that as a welcome item on the checklist. But that is the first question when you're getting into the community is who are you and what do you focus on? I think one problem there is that people, they aren't familiar with the community yet, so they're just signing up. They're not sure they want to really share that because they don't know what the hell this is. Then they get in there, they don't really have a chance to go back and answer that. So yeah, we'll put that on the checklist, but really want people to tell the community what you're looking for, what it is that you focus on, and use keywords, right? If you're focused on fintech, use fintech, because we're showing people how to find you. So if you want to get found, do it. If you don't want to get found, but you want to find other people, then use keywords and search.
Yeah. Keywords, and also when you're setting up your own profile, you can choose the industry and specifically say, okay, I'm an intermediary, for example, and that way it also makes it much easier for other people to find you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's only going to get better. We'll see what happens. I mean, obviously it's Memorial Day, so everyone's out. The weather here is finally nice in Boston. So I know in New England people check out for the summer, but we're going to keep rolling. We're going to keep asking the questions, doing the events, and just the body of content is already so great. We're just going to keep building that up, and I think we're in a good spot. It's a valuable resource. We've got a lot of inquiries. I think we're off to a good start. So help us help you get in there, fill out your profiles, set up your keywords, and then this thing will only snowball in terms of its value in making the match. We also talked about the event. We had a question in there about whether online events versus real world events.
Yeah.
Like how do people feel? What's value? Got a lot of traction there. And let me see. This is the one. So let me just call this up. We asked the question, how do you feel about the value of in-person conferences, right? 2022 and beyond. We got some really interesting answers here along the way. And this was moving into IBBA, which I missed, just family issues on my end, M&A Source, which you went to. Oh, we lost one again.
Yes, but I am back.
You're back. There we go. You went to M&A Source. Why don't you just chat about that? How was it? You were in person M&A Source. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it was great, and I think just like in the conversation we had in the community, people are excited to go out and meet people in person, and network and socialize now that we finally can. So it was a really good experience, and one of the things that came up in the conversation in the community was that for social interactions and networking, in person is so much better. But when it comes to online, you have a really good opportunity when it comes to education, for example, because for example, that M&A Source event was in Denver, and it was great because I was able to go there. But there's quite a few other events that won't be able to go in person, and if there's a opportunity to do it online, it just opens up a lot of opportunities, right?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, for example, when I was in person in Denver, and you have the speakers there. For example, we had Bennett Thrasher that I talked about earlier, that did a whole morning about quality of earnings. And it was very interactive. So people were having discussions, asking questions. We did these cases in person. So it was a very good experience. And it was nice to have those cases and be able to sit next to someone and have the discussion about ad backs and how to think about ad backs. Um, yeah, so no, it's good. And people in general were just very excited to be there in person and be able to network with people from all over the country, because people were flying in from all over the US, but also from Canada. So yeah, that
Yeah.
was really
Yeah.
good.
It's interesting. It's like, because that's never going to go away, right? I mean, for me, I love getting back to the in-person events. We're going to ACG,
Yeah.
right? That's coming up, the Deal Fest in Boston.
Yeah.
So we'll both be there in person, and that's fun, right? Because you have a level of just it's quality network that you're never going to get online. But what I did really like, especially with the IBBA and M&A source, and even now the ACG, is the online chatter leading up to and after the event, right? Like I personally started getting a lot of DMs. You're going to be there. What are you going to do? We're going to like, and that was really nice to have the community. We didn't do anything with the lead up. I mean, I think we had some people kind of commenting that they'd be there, but then the DMs really started. And I really like that, just that engagement leading up to and after the fact. I think it adds a lot of value with follow up too, right? I know
Yeah.
you've been chatting with people who you met at M&A Source in the community, just in terms of
Yeah.
staying engaged and staying top of mind. I think there's a lot of potential there. I think it's super valuable because people aren't doing that in like Facebook groups and on LinkedIn. Like this is focused on M&A, with the advisors and the entrepreneurs. They're there, right? The owners are there. A lot of them aren't self-identifying as such. I understand why. But with the intermediaries and just the niche players that you have, whether it's the valuation experts or the financial advisors or the lawyers or the accountants, I mean, everybody who we have in here who are engaging, that's been really special to me. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully, continuing even during the summer months as people drop off, most likely.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think that's super valuable before and after. But before, like for ACG, we have a table on the 8th. We're both gonna be there both on the 7th and the 8th. And
We have two
like Adam
tables,
said,
right?
sorry?
We have two tables, don't we?
Yeah, yeah, we have two tables, so one each.
Nice. There we go.
Um,
Yeah, both sides. We're gonna
yeah.
surround you.
Yeah, yeah. And I think also in terms of people that you want to network with or people that want to network with you, and with ACG, you can look up the attendee list and actually have a conversation beforehand and say, hey, let's have a coffee, or let's catch up, or let's schedule a meeting. And that's valuable because that's something that's very hard to do on spot when you're there. um, yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun. And they have a value creation event on the 7th as well that I'm looking forward to. It'll be good to hear and kind of different PE firms talking about their value creation and their thesis when it comes to their fund. So that'll also be very interesting.
Yeah. Lynn's been bouncing around the world going to these conferences, right? It's interesting because it's like you got the IBBA, you got M&A Source, then you've got
Yeah.
AMAA and ACG, and they all have their different focus. And I think the ACG, we're heading into a lot of family offices and private equity, which we've been a lot more involved with than we have been in the past. I think the pandemic really flip-flopped BizNexus a lot. We're still intermediary focused, definitely, but we've been spending the majority of our time doing more ACG, family office, private equity type stuff than the intermediary stuff lately. But all of these worlds are colliding, right? So you have these groups that are all, which it's been great because they're all in the community. I mean, they're all engaging with the community. They have their respective target focuses. So yeah, we'll see how the ACG goes, and in terms of who we bring on for other live sessions. That's going to be interesting in the evolution of the community, I think.
Yeah, it will be absolutely. And there's a couple of interesting coming up. You've got one coming up next weekend. No, later this week as well on Wednesday or Thursday, is it?
For ACG for DealFest. Oh, with
No, sorry, in the community. Yeah.
you're talking about the lunch and learn.
Yeah, you got Launch and Learn on Wednesday, but you also have another event coming up, or like in the community event.
I can't even keep track. We got so many of these things. If you're
Yeah,
talking about
that's very true.
the diligence, the data room, that one.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that one's coming up, right? And
So that's one that I actually already did. We just haven't set that live. So
mm,
some of these things, like if you're looking to do a live session for anybody out there, we've stopped with that outreach. Basically, we've had a lot of inquiries coming in, and we're just trying to make sure that we're doing certainly the exit prep sessions. We want those to be with niche specialists, with people who are in a position to talk about whatever the topic at hand is. But we've learned the hard way that people reschedule. Right, we're all busy, and so we're not setting those sessions live, and they're not live in real time. We're actually pre-recording them and then setting them live, because that's the only way we can dependably give you a time where this thing is going to be ready for viewing. Because again, everyone's super busy right now. Transactions have not slowed down despite this world seemingly falling apart over the past couple of months. So everyone's out there cranking away, and hopefully, knock on wood, that window stays open at least through the year with a transaction volume and activity.
yeah.
Yeah. All
Okay,
right.
so we're actually almost at 40 minutes here.
Have we been talking for 40 minutes, or have we just been stumbling through technical difficulties for 40 minutes?
Well, both, I suppose.
Yeah. I think that's plenty. Let's try tightening it up for next time, and just, technical difficulties. I'll fix that on my end. And then general gist for this going forward. If you're at a barbecue and you happen to stumble on this thing through the week, and you actually watch it to this point, we're going to just be going through the events, right? What's coming up, what was hot over the past week. We're going to run through the conversations. If there's anything really interesting that's relevant, that's timely, we're just going to talk about that. And then we'll close it out with any updates. I'm not going to go through the updates now, because we have been doing this for almost 40 minutes. But if you're in the marketplace, you've obviously noticed we have a few different, like the search is completely different. So we have a whole sales navigator type search. You can add keywords, exclude keywords, save multiple projects and searches, and you can export all of that to CSV. Our Zapier integration, our Integromat integration, that all just went live, I believe this morning. Check with Dev. But yeah, in terms of the marketplace playing nice with your CRM, and you being able to just sit back and get these niche emails according to however many targets you have, like, check it out. If you haven't been in the marketplace, give it a look. We've been really cranking away on product. I think we're tough to beat right now. I'm biased, obviously, but pretty proud of the dev team, because they're also doing this for the most part, they're doing this from Ukraine. And we had to throttle things back a little bit during the initial stages of the war, but they have just been cranking ever since. They're in Lviv and Kiev, and so they're doing great work. They released it. Check it out. Give them some props if you like it.
Yeah, kudos to them to continue. They were, even in the early stages when things were very uncertain, there were several people who kept working, and the feature is, with excluding keywords, for example, it's super valuable when you're looking to search and do a very targeted search. So yeah, exciting.
No, they've been doing great. And without getting to a whole another topic, just if you're ever feeling bad about your day and you're hopping in with the dev team, and they're dealing with the kind of crap that they've been dealing with, it'll set your perspective straight pretty quickly. So
Yeah.
another topic. another topic. Maybe we'll have some of them on the live session. They can chat about the experience. All right.
Yeah.
Well, if you're actually watching this, go barbecue. What the hell are you doing? We're gonna pop out. Lynn, thank you.
Thank you.
All
See you.
right. See ya.